process are standardized, right? So stable and predictable. Without that foundation, any attempt to speed up the production is increasing the risk of defects for sure. But once we have a reliable process, and this is what we're working on a daily basis, on a reliable process, we can systematically reduce cycle times while maintaining the quality.
Jennifer, this is a great episode. I've been looking forward to interviewing Guido for quite a while. This was a fun one, huh?
Yeah, I look forward to all of our guests. This one for sure I was really looking forward to. I'm very excited about this one.
I was trying to say, like, how do we tell the guests what to expect on this one? And, like, I don't know, I was, like, trying to come up with an analogy. Guido's, like, I don't know, the word titan kept coming up, but he's just, like, this solid rock of knowledge and experience and the way he answers every question. And I say at one point, I go, stop, but like rewind and listen to that one, because everything comes so even keeled sometimes. I feel like you could listen and go out, but if you pay attention, there's just so much here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's just phenomenal. I mean, we know this about Guido, but just you hear it in the course of this episode, some of the things that are important to him. You know, he thinks very, very deeply. He comes into his role that he's in from a deep, deep background in manufacturing. You can hear that he loves it. You can hear that he wants to remember that, you know, he says, we want AI, we want to embrace AI, we're excited about it, but it can't make us so that we stop thinking. We have to be able to think. And then, you know, talking about, you'll hear this a little bit later, some of the advice to people coming in, just start from scratch. Whatever you do, make sure you start from scratch. Don't be afraid of that. That will help to accelerate this. It's just, like you just said, it's this phenomenal ability to think all the way into the detail and to account for that, and be able to extrapolate that into like a global impact. It's fantastic.
You know what? I thought of another analogy for Guido. He's like a compass. Like, there's so much noise out here, but he's someone that just truly has knowledge. He doesn't get overhyped on things, not behind. And a number of times in my career, I've experienced Guido just synthesizing ideas to like the leading edge, but not the too far leading edge. So that's what I'd say as folks listen to this, like, Guido's a compass. Like, he's someone you can trust on, like, where are things actually at right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
What does it take to keep quality standards consistent across factories on multiple continents? For Guido Heuser, manager of Global Advanced Manufacturing Engineering at HARMAN Automotive, it's a challenge he's spent over 30 years preparing for. Starting on the SMT lines at Nokia, moving through Flex and Vario Systems, and now overseeing global engineering for one of the automotive industry's most recognized names. In this episode, we sit down with Guido to talk about what 3 decades in electronics manufacturing has taught him about quality, technology, and the relentless pursuit of continuous improvement. We will also dig into one of manufacturing's perennial tensions. Can you simultaneously improve quality and reduce cycle times, or do those goals inevitably collide? Guido, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Thanks for having me. And it sounds like you said so many decades. It sounds really old. Maybe we should mention that I start with the age of 10 and now I'm 40, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
I was gonna say that genuinely, as we were researching your background, I was shocked. So it's like, maybe we need to pivot this podcast to your personal health routine of how you're doing so great.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I guess more interesting to stay on topic with 30 years of SMT manufacturing and electronics expertise, which is amazing. Some of the industry's biggest names: Nokia, Flex, Vario Systems, of course, HARMAN Automotive. Let me kick it off, Guido. Like, what drew you to manufacturing, and what's kept you passionate about it? And
well, as you said, and this is really what I like in my CV. There's a red line, and I always like to work for larger companies as well as Vario System as a smallest, or not the smallest, but the smaller EMS company. So, but what initially drew me to surface mount technology was also the combination of precision engineering, automation, problem solving, and I like to say every board is a small puzzle, right? Where material, machines, and process parameter must work perfectly together. And what kept me passionate for more than 3 decades now is also the constant evolution of the industry, new project, new components, smarter equipment, tighter tolerances, and ongoing challenges in improving quality and efficiency. So that keeps me running with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's always something new around the corner. It's like the same.
Absolutely.
You're like,
That makes it very, very interesting. Yeah. Still.
Yeah, so I've known Guido for a few years now, and he's one of our favorite people in the industry for me to talk to. He always has great stories for our listeners that don't already know this. It's fantastic. Guido, I tell this to my colleagues all the time. Talk to me a little bit about your day to day. What are some of the things that kind of fall on your desk the most often? Maybe some of the things that are the most challenging, some of the things that are the most exciting. Walk us through that a little bit.
Well, as you said previously or before, because we as a global AME is supporting multiple regions, right? Like North America, Europe, and Asia. And a typical day starts for me with early calls or late calls, depending on the time zones, of course. And in a short way, let's say, we have technical deep dives in case there are any issues locally at the site. So that means problem solving, escalation, firefighting. We also do new process or equipment evaluation and development as well with our suppliers together. And we've done a lot, especially development, as you know, also from the Arch side together with you guys, and also with machine suppliers to fulfill our needs at Harman for new products, etc. So, and also what's also in our hand, and I think it's very important, is the people development with our monthly SMT Global Information, which are started in 2020, because it's very important to spreading experience from one side to the entire network. That's where real leverage happens, and spreading experience globally is one of our major tasks. So I think it's very important, and the people at the sites, they already also like when we share information, not just with them. Also together with from time to time, we do also supplier roadmap presentation globally so that everyone at the sites knows exactly what's coming, what are the new features, etc. So yeah, this is kind of a daily task on our end or on my end. Yes.
I think
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think some of the people listening, you should rewind and like listen to that one again because Guido, your day to day is super fascinating. I've used it as an example for others. I think something that maybe doesn't quite stand out in the way you said that is so many manufacturers have folks that are always just assigned to one site, or they're assigned to a site and they jump to others. And you were one of the people I met early on that had this position truly across sites and in a day to day, not just like a quarter by quarter. You're sometimes involved in hand-to-hand combat, and you're other times doing these strategies. You're doing new developments. You're doing roadmap reviews, and it seemed both something you're uniquely capable of, and that Harman recognized and leveraged that. It's actually, I don't know. It feels like it should be commonplace, but seems more rare from my perspective. I don't know if you have a comment on that.
I mean, we had similar positions, for example, at Nokia, but I was local at that time for manufacturing. The department was called Manufacturing Solution, MS, and I did all the local task for that. So there was already a global team, as I said, Manufacturing Solutions, doing the same thing. I just moved with Harman in this position, so I already had experience working with those guys, as I said, as a local person to implement new stuff, etc. And now I think it's for companies with this footprint like Harman or Nokia in the past, I think it's very common. Yeah. And I think it's good that
there's some other automotives especially that have this philosophy called LAGs, locally accountable, globally supported. And it sounds kind of nice, but like it means a lot of the best people are only in the site, and the global people, they're great too, but they don't have the site level knowledge. So I think that's something that stands out is when people that are in the global support role have exactly the site shop floor knowledge too, and really merge those disciplines.
But I think for me, it's actually, and this is what I really like, and this is also very helpful in my daily job, that I started from scratch, to be honest. When I finished school, I was looking for a job, and I started working for Nokia. And they had that was a time when the mobile phone market really was going to the roof. So, and I started working as an operator. So I really started from scratch. from operator to maintenance lead, into the ME department, manufacturing engineering, then from manufacturing engineering into MS. And then it goes on like this. And I think I know exactly what the people also feeling in the production, the people we serve with engineering, support, etc. I think it's a good help for me to have a better understanding of all this. I think that's very helpful for me and also for the people at the end, of course. Yeah.
So speaking of that whole domain of knowledge, and you mentioned maintenance, you mentioned production. Let's talk about quality for a second. So in automotive, recalls are costly. They
Oh
damage
yeah.
brand reputation. They can be one of the most significant events. How do you
Yeah.
specifically use like technology to get ahead of potential quality issues, since they can be so critical to avoid?
Well, at HARMAN Automotive it's preventing recalls isn't about the reacting faster. It's about detecting risk, as you said, before it becomes a field issue, right? So technology plays a major role in that, and built-in quality is very important instead of inspecting this. I mean, we have a lot of tools in place, like the automatic optical inspection at the end of the line. We do have X-ray for hidden solder joints, etc. But also the clear, and this is also one of the big advantages at Harman, is that we have a clear, up-to-date documentation, which is very important. So work instructions, standard operation procedures, we do PFMEA, control plans, process manuals, etc. And of course, training and upskilling. Operators, engineers are the first line of defense, right? And that's why it's also very important for us, as I said before, to have this global communication with the sites, to share information, even if there's something happens. We want to share this information right away to make sure it's not happen again the same time or quite after this one. But also upskilling is very important. It's also what we like. So it's more like keep the people informed. And as I said, with all the documentation, work instruction, etc., we try to prevent anything happens in the field, actually. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I know that your role is kind of dual in that you work on both quality and also on OEE improvements. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the episode. Walk us through a little bit how you drive continuous improvement in quality while also balancing needing to reduce cycle times. Do they conflict? And then when they do, how do you handle it?
Well, might be a conflict, but first and foremost, we ensure that processes are standardized, right? So stable and predictable. Without that foundation, any attempt to speed up the production is increasing the risk of defects for sure. But once we have a reliable process, and this is what we're working on a daily basis on a reliable process, we can systematically reduce cycle times while maintaining the quality, because improvements are built on a stable baseline rather than on a fragile, error-prone process, of course. And by analyzing our production data with the new tools we just have implemented, we've been able to identify hidden downtimes, which does not have directly an impact on quality, but with the hidden downtime, we can optimize processes across the lines. For example, with the solder paste printer, we adjusted stencil underside cleaning frequency with the information we get out of the cycle time information or downtime information. And by just adding a pre-buffer after the printing to accommodate the cleaning cycles to improve line balancing and also improve the quality at the same time. So yes, there might be a conflict here and there, but also improvement in both ways. So quality and cycle time. So this changes, as I said, reduce cycle time while maintaining high quality, showing how data-driven insights allow us to improve both OEE and defect prevention simultaneously, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and that might actually tap onto one of the questions I was going to ask earlier about, incentivizing. You talked about how important it is to do the knowledge sharing across the footprint. Thinking about, you implementing and maintaining some of the global standards across the teams in different countries, different work cultures. How do you incentivize your people to share that knowledge? Sometimes they want to, but they're busy. What are your strategies that have worked?
Well, you're right. Implementing global standards across multiple countries and cultures is definitely challenging. It's not just about the documents, it's also the adoption of these standards, right? And go along with the sites. And our global standards are built most of the time with the input from the local teams to ensure they are realistically in each environment. And means we involve the teams adapting and approving standards, which makes sense because they exactly know what should the standard look like. And so they feel also kind of like an ownership rather than enforcement. And with this, we achieve consistent performance across the global. So I think that's very important to have these people involved in the standard definition and then the implementation. Makes it much easier when they are involved from the beginning. Yeah.
It's easy to say, it's hard to do, right? Because
Yeah.
ownership, I think I've observed you do that extremely well, but like giving people that sense of ownership, can also vary a little bit culture to culture. And I think you spent some time in Texas with Nokia before you were in Stalving.
Yeah.
Let's take these two cultures. What surprised you about the similarities or the differences between manufacturing cultures in the US and Germany?
Well, you're right. Spending 7 years in Texas with Nokia and Vario System, by the way, because Vario System,
Oh,
even
yeah.
the headquarters in Switzerland, is also because we've been to the US twice. So first was Nokia, and the second time was with Vario Systems.
Vario, yeah.
And
Texas, yeah.
and before we moving back, um, I would like to say, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not a good or a bad, but I observed in the US a flexibility, let's say, can do approach. Teams are empowered to experiment and adapt quickly with decentralized decision making. Yeah, in Germany, particularly in Straubing, when I worked here at the production plant in Straubing, it's more like the focus is on precision, standardization, and strict, well-documented processes, and we need to talk about it and get all the documents together, which both is actually right for me, and both approaches have advantages and disadvantages. So I always try to combine the best out of both worlds, adapting the style depending on the situation, of course. But I think both it's okay not to go too deep into it. But as I said, it's depending on the situation. But sometimes it just need a quick decision to move on, and sometimes of course more. But as I said, I like to combine both actually. And I don't know if you heard about the Rondori principle. It's kind of
I
like
heard that.
they have principles, and they said one of the principles says instead of following a rigid plan, teams should adjust based on real data and current conditions. And yeah, I like to go along with these principles. This is a very interesting book actually. I got as a gift many years ago. Very interesting in regards of working on projects, etc. So yeah, that's what I like to do. Combine both worlds actually.
Maybe throw something quick in there. That's an interesting kind of U.S. versus Germany, and it reminds me of one of the times that you impressed me and probably helped us the most too. When we were collaborating, and among other things at Arch, we have this product, the Action Manager, that tries
Hmm.
to detect real conditions, predict them, and bring guidance. And I
Yeah,
remember, I think it was like 2023, 4, far before AI. Now this idea is more commonplace, but
yeah.
we were starting to work on this, probably more American style, flexible ideas, not sure. And you brought the bet, like, independently. I don't think you knew we were working on it at all. And you brought this, like, you guys need something that works a lot like this, and you brought this extremely structured. I still have the slide somewhere of
I,
this
and I
picture
call
and
it
all the pieces.
I call it ticket system. I remember
Yeah.
that, and the drawing in PowerPoint, just
Yep.
to
Yep.
to yes, yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
like it's one thing to kind of know, like I think everybody kind of knew, like people need to make predictive systems and they need to combine them with knowledge, but it's a different thing to be able to articulate it and take the time to write it all down in full. And so
Mm,
that was extremely impactful and important. So yeah,
good.
that was a great example, I think, right there as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that that kind of brings me into a question I've had for you. I think that Guido, you're one of the most exceptional, like visionaries, seeing the things that need to be built, and it's clear to you. You're definitely able to think about the depth of the systems that need to exist, and you're very good at articulating it. Looking forward, it's hard to predict where manufacturing is going to go, especially with AI, and it's going to be tough to predict where AI is going to take things. What are you looking for as someone who I do consider a visionary? What are you kind of looking for in manufacturing over the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, what I see, and this is very important for us right now, is to increase automation, including the AI integration. And this is one of our focus areas, actually, by the way, right now. Also with other external companies to find, not only with external software companies, also with the machine supplier we have to further automate the process in regards of program creation, etc. With the AI, we do have, and this is also very strong or supported by the leadership at HARMAN, to more include the AI into our daily business. But to be honest, when I see the current stage of AI and the way it works, I think it's still very, very important for us not to stop asking questions. I mean, AI is very powerful tool, but I think it's really essential that also the next generation learn to use AI as a tool. But I mean, working in the CIT department, Center of Innovation Technology right now, is that I'm open-minded, of course, for all the new innovations, etc. But again, curiosity, critical thinking, and human judgment, I think, must remain as a core of how we innovate. I think that's very important. We should not stop to ask questions, and yeah, I think that's what it is. But I definitely see automation, AI driven, as a future also for us in our company. Because as I said, the top management is really supporting this to implement this more and more in all the different areas at HARMAN. Yeah.
So I have maybe a follow-on question. Maybe you'll humor me. Interesting as you talk about how, and Andrew and I have talked about this multiple times. We've talked about it here on the show many times. How we want AI to take away the dull, the dirty, the dangerous, all of that. We don't want it to take away the creativity. It's kind of it might seem like an odd question. Like we said, you talk about, the level of optimization that you do it globally. You think it's harder to make an improvement, a standardized improvement, to stand up something, to make that change at a single site? Or do you think it's harder to implement that across like 10 sites?
It is more difficult to implement it across the sites, definitely. And we have also difference between the sites, probably cultural difference, but also the people at the sites. Of course, they are different, and some of them are very, very supportive. I mean, we have also regular meetings with them, and once we implement something, one of the sites will present us immediately the week after the results in a presentation. Other sites, it does take a little bit longer. But it's definitely more difficult to implement this to all the sites. That is also the reason from time to time that I have to travel to the sites to support them and to make sure it's really implemented. But it is more difficult, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Expected.
Guido, where do you lean on the AI scale? There's people that are totally beating the drum hype, we're not using it enough, and totally skeptical, like, this is just not there yet. Like, where are you on the spectrum and why right now?
I'm totally open-minded, and as more as we use AI in the company, sometimes I'm really impressed, and sometimes I think, okay, maybe there's some time we need to wait until it works as we want. But I'm totally open-minded. I like the whole concept, the whole idea, of course. But as I said, we should not stop to ask questions. And what I see also in the company, also besides the company, is that people totally rely on AI, which is, I think, not right at this point in time. And even in the future, I don't know. Let's see where it goes. But no, I'm totally with the AI. I'm totally like the concept in the different areas. And also I think I mentioned this before, what we're doing right now to more automate the programming task to get, for example, data from component data sheets supported by the AI directly to the programmer, which helps us to make the right decision, etc. Things like this. I'm absolutely for this. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's not some people have moved, too fast, as you said, to just trust it blindly, and it's not a replacement for our discernment. It's going to be, does feel to me as well, there's going to be an even greater spread in the future between the people that understand the topic and don't, right? And what they're capable
right.
of.
Yeah.
Well, if it's okay, I want to take a slightly maybe different direction here before we get to rapid fire. I understand you're passionate not just about technology and manufacturing, but also camping trucks. And so, how does unplugging and getting outdoors help you recharge from the demands of all this global manufacturing?
It's actually, it's a caravan. It's not a camping truck, but it's at the end, it's camping. And we started this end of 2024. We thought about it for a long time. Is this the right thing for us? And it's spending the time outdoors with our caravan is the way of unplugging, as you said, and recharging. Really, for me, it's all about quality time with the family. When we travel with our caravan, we keep our own routine, right? We're in our own space, in our own bed, which also is very important, and we have a sense of independence and simplicity that you don't get in a hotel. I mean, this is really what it is. And of course, it depends on which place you go, but we like to go, for example, to Italy, to the Lake Garda, and it's a beautiful place. You have your camping spot right at the lake, and it's just, as I said, we have our own routine. We do what we want, no time pressure, and totally unplugging from all the engineering tasks, which recharge my batteries to come back, and this is what we really like, and we found this as a best vacation for us. I mean, we still do a hotel vacation, that's not a question, but camping is our thing now. Yeah, my family and I, we really like it. Yeah.
Okay, time for some rapid fire questions here. Guido, is there a book, movie, or TV series that inspires you when thinking about the future of manufacturing?
Well, the future of manufacturing, I really would like to mention what I said before, the Randori Principles. It's a really great book I can recommend to read with the different principles. As I mentioned one before, and it's more like, if I remember it correctly, it's to understand the work before trying to optimize and control a system, you must see and understand what's actually happening. This is what I always try to do. Make the work visible. Limit work in progress is also something important to many tasks at once create chaos. But in general, to make it short, this is a book I like to read. I'm reading actually for a longer time. From time to time, I take the book again and read it, and it's really inspiring and interesting for me. So that is something I would recommend. It's called the Randori Principles. Yeah.
Very nice.
Fantastic. I'd love to hear about it. All right. Is there a leader or innovator you look to for inspiration? Anybody somebody who has maybe shaped how you think about engineering technology?
Well, honestly, when I think about it and I think back, there was one person. His name is Peter Ermisch. and he's one of the founder of my previous company, Vario Systems, located in the US. So he was my boss at the same time, and unfortunately now he retired already. But he was for me, I think I can say this, one of the best leader I've ever met, and I had the privilege to work with. He was really, so as I said, he started the company from the beginning. And I really like also the story behind this, that this company starts with just one placement machine. And this placement machine was free of charge from, at that time, Siemens, which is ASM SidePlace today. I don't know if I can share the insight, but he got this machine for free just to start his business. And now it's one of the most important EMS at the market, with different location in Texas, in Switzerland, in Sri Lanka, Croatia, and all this started with just one machine. And he was really a big impact to that, as of course as a founder. And he was really, for me, a great person in managing a company, etc. So things like this. I would like to mention Peter Ermisch in my career. Yeah.
Wonderful shout out.
Yeah.
Guido, what piece of technology outside of manufacturing has had the most impact on your life?
Oh, I think, well, most of the people will probably say the smartphone, right? And I do so. I mean, beyond making calls or sending messages, it becomes more my hub for learning, staying organized, managing schedules, and connecting with people globally. I think smartphone, and I remember the time, it was unfortunately not a good time for Nokia, but when the first iPhone was coming out and introduced, I was really impressed. And I mean, it's still the same, with all the functionality, etc. I think I would say smartphone.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's very true. Okay, if you could instantly acquire a new skill or knowledge area, what would it be?
Maybe another language, maybe Spanish as a language to cover most German, English, and then Spanish. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Yeah, and very helpful in my job also, especially with my team and the Querétaro side in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's always one of mine. I want to speak all languages, so I that one resonates.
Yeah. Someone that goes in person all the time, global and local shop floor too.
Yeah.
So Guido, last one for you. We've got a variety of different people that watch the show, but a set of them are younger manufacturing professionals that are starting out in the field and then dream of being able to have the level of scope and impact that you're having. What advice would you give to folks that are starting in this field today?
For new people, I think what I mentioned before, if possible, start from scratch. To have a better understanding of the needs of the people you are providing technical service and support. And then in general, I would say stay curiously and embrace technology and focus on continuous improvement. I think that's very important in our job. And learn by doing and never stop asking why. So I think that's the most important thing. But as I said, if it's possible, really learn from the beginning. That's the best base to work in this industry and to work in this job. Yeah, I think that's very important, if possible.
Yeah, there's not a hack in it, but it compounds over time, right? Even if it feels still slow to begin with.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Because I would really like to take the opportunity to say thank you to my wife, because she's my biggest believer always, and she supported me in every decision and every step along the way, and including relocating to a different country twice.
Wow.
So for more than 30 years, she has managed everything around me and created the stability that allows me to focus on my career. So I want to say thank you. Take the opportunity and say thank you.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal of you, Guido. I appreciate that, and I think it's important to have that perspective that the people that support you in your career are oftentimes most importantly at home. You already talked about how you had someone in your career at work who was one of your greatest mentors, one of the greatest people that you appreciate. It's important to be balanced and have that perspective of how much support is required on both sides. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic way to kick it off.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
Guido, we're gonna have to have you on again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you,
For sure.
guys. Thank you very much.